evening, everyone, and welcome to the annual meeting of Bath and North East Somerset Council. Item 1 on the agenda is the emergency evacuation procedure. Can I invite Joe to read that out, please?
Thank you. If the continuous alarm sounds, you must evacuate the building and proceed to the assembly point. From this room, you follow the green running person signs to the exit, using either the marble staircase at the end of the building nearest to Bath Abbey or the main staircase. Please do not use the lifts. The assembly point for this building is in Orange Grove on the green outside Browns. There is an evacuation chair for use by disabled people who so wish in the corridor outside the Council Chamber Public Gallery. Alternatively, the area at the top of the marble staircase has been designated as a safe refuge where persons needing assistance should assemble. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe. Item 2 on the agenda is the election of the chair for 2023-2024, and I'd like to invite a proposal from the floor for nominating a councillor to be chair. Councillor Guy. Thank you very much, Councillor Guy. Can I ask for a member to second the proposal? I believe Councillor Moss, you may be doing that. Thank you.
I'm not hearing it very well.
No, my light is coming on. I'm not sure it is. We're going to look into that and see what we can do. Okay. So I understand your concern, and we'll try and resolve it as soon as possible. So we've had a proposer and seconder. Can I just check to see if there are no further nominations for Chair of Council? No? That's good. There are no further nominations. Therefore, can I invite support from the other political groups on the Council? So, Councillor Hughes.
Thank you. I think Sarah's done a fine job over the past year as Vice Chair, and I'm sure she'll do an equally fine job in the position of Chair, and we're happy to support the nomination.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hughes. Councillor Warren, good to see you back.
Thank you very much, Chair. Very happy to support you, so I hope you have a good year and enjoy yourself. All the best.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Sam Ross.
I'd also like to support Councillor Moore and look forward to talking about knitting with you further.
Thank you to those group leaders. Can I now move to the vote? Can I see all those in favour of Councillor Moore being Chair of Bath and North East Somerset Council? Thank you, and that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Now, can you unpin me?
I, Sarah Moore, having been elected to the office of Chair of Bath and North East Somerset Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I'm extremely proud to have the honour and privilege of being elected as the new Chair of Bath and North East Somerset Council. I want to thank my fellow councillors for electing me as Chair and the outgoing Chair, Councillor Sean Stevenson McGall, who has done a fantastic job over the past year with a number of extraordinary events. I also want to thank the residents of Twerton and Whiteway, where I have lived for over 25 years and served as a councillor for the past 4 years. I'm looking forward to the varied role of Chair, to uphold the constitution of the Council, to showcase our wonderful city, towns and villages and support important events across the whole area. As Chair, I'm delighted to preside over our citizenship ceremonies, welcoming new citizens to our nation and to Bath and North East Somerset, as well as supporting the Council's role as a corporate parent to our looked after children. I hope to spend time visiting a large number of charities and organisations we have that help our residents, so that I can obtain a better understanding and richness and diversity within the communities of Bath and North East Somerset, and pay tribute to those who volunteer to make our villages, towns and neighbourhoods such great places to live. Thank you. Okay, so I'd like to move on to item 3, which is appointment of Vice Chair for 23-24. I have nominations from the floor. Councillor Hughes.
Thank you. I would like to nominate Councillor Karen Walker. I'm sure many of you already know Karen and the many activities and organisations she's involved in as the Ward Councillor in Peasdown St John. Karen has also done a great job as our group spokesperson for the past 4 years, and I have no hesitation in proposing Karen for the position of Vice Chair.
And the seconder, Councillor Guy.
I'm more than happy to second Councillor Walker for position of Vice Chair. She's an excellent representative for the people of Peasdown. She's done a brilliant job. She's got vast experience of being chair of a PDS panel for the last 4 years. It's been a really positive and constructive working relationship in the group leaders' environment, so I really appreciate that. I believe, Karen, you're going on to the Avon Fire Authority as well, and as Robin has clearly pointed out, things might start to heat up soon, so that might come in good stead. But I'm more than happy to second Councillor Walker as Vice Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations from the floor? No? Okay, I'd like to invite Karen to come and take her place. I'd like to ask everyone to show of hands in support of Karen's nomination. Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, Karen, would you like to come and join us up here?
I, Karen Walker, having been elected to the office of Vice Chair of Bath and North East Somerset Council, declare that I take the office upon myself and will duly and fulfilly fulfil the duties according to the best of my judgment and ability. So I just wanted to say thank you for your support and voting me in as Vice Chair. Thank you.
Okay, item 4, apologies for absence. Joe?
Yes, sorry, bear with me. I have had apologies from Councillors Alison Bourne, Sarah Evans, Samantha Kelly, George Leach, Joanna Wright and Duncan Hounsell. Thank you.
Item 5, declarations of interest. Joe, do we have any?
None notified to me. If anybody's got one, they can declare now. No, I don't think so. Thank you.
Okay. Item 6. Can I call on someone from the floor to show the minutes from the 16th of March are of true and correct record, please? Councillor Doherty and seconder, Councillor Jackson. Thank you. Item 7, announcements from the Chair. I'd like to present the previous Chair with his past Chair's badge.
Thank you.
I call for a formal vote of thanks for Councillor Stevenson McGall. Councillor Guy?
Yes, more than happy to call for a formal vote of thanks. For those of you new to the Chamber, Sean had the first physical meeting back from COVID, and also Sean had the honour or misfortune of being the Chair in the final year of a 4-year administration. And that brings with it some interesting bits of politics in the room, and I believe Sean handled it extremely well. Things got a little bit heated at times, but I think he did a brilliant job as Chair. Also important to note that there were some significant events that might have happened while he was Chair that we may have forgot. Platinum Jubilee happened, obviously, and then there were significant local government duties with the death of Her Majesty the Queen. Sean led the Council and other civic representatives in the great responsibility of reading the local proclamation of King Charles III in September, which was a great honour on behalf of us all. Although it did follow recent celebrations, so I'm sure he enjoyed a few glasses of fizz with those coronation celebrations. Sean has carried out his duties exceptionally well. He's brought great pride and honour to the role of chair, and he's also brought to my attention the need for additional assistance to carry out such an important role, particularly when you go around the parishes in North East Somerset. So I'm more than happy to move that bit of work forward, and thanks for Sean for bringing that to my attention. I'm more than happy to move it forward. Which is just looking at the detailed papers to actually being part of proper policy development for the executive and really helping us shine a light on the dark corners of the council, but also helping us with interesting new initiatives to help all the people of Bath and North East Somerset. So I look forward to working with the opposition.
Thank you. We put that to the vote. Everyone in favour of accepting the paper? Those against? Any abstentions? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Okay, item 13 is the pledge to children in care. Councillor May, you've been moving.
Thank you, Chair. As the new Cabinet Member for Children's Services, I wish to start by thanking the officers, care experienced young people and Councillor Romeo for developing such an excellent pledge to children and young people in care and care leavers. I would also like to thank Councillor Mansell for suggesting helpfully an equalities amendment to the document, which has been circulated today, this afternoon, to everybody. This council chamber will have many party political debates over the next 4 years, but as we are all corporate parents, I hope we will be able to have a unanimous approval of this pledge this evening. The first corporate parenting meeting is on the 6th of June, when we will welcome any further comments from all members. We currently have over 230 children and young people under our care, and whatever age they come into the system, it will affect them for their whole life, their whole adult life, which is why we support them after they leave at 18 until the age of 25. Please do not underestimate the impact being in the care system has on young people for the rest of their lives, and anything we can do as their corporate parents to improve the experience they have in our care is something I hope we can all agree on this evening. Please support publicly our pledge this evening. And would you please note there is a small typographical error in the new wording of that updated pledge we sent out this afternoon, which is a missing comma between the words status and religion. We will ask for that small correction to be made in the minutes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And Councillor Romero, I believe you're seconding.
Thank you. So may I be the first one to congratulate Councillor May on his elevation to be Cabinet Member for Children and Young People. Over the last 2 years, whilst I was Cabinet Member in this role, I was very privileged to meet a number of our children in care and those who had experienced care. And it's their input into this updated pledge that I hope you will also find is invaluable. And I also hope that the new Cabinet Member will continue to seek out the voices and views of children and young people in shaping not just policies of obvious interest, but in a broader range too. Just picking up on your theme of corrections, there is another correction to note, which is in 5.7, and this it should read, instead of Cabinet members, it should read all council members or councillors, because all councillors are corporate parents and therefore have a corporate interest in a range of issues affecting our children in care, including well-being and achievement. but I hope that as councillors you will be more proactive in your support for our children in care and invest the same interest as you do if you have children yourself. So in paragraph 5.8 you will note that you are all welcome to attend the corporate parenting group. I hope you will make every effort to attend. And with those comments made, I'm happy to welcome this updated pledge and happy to second.
Thank you. I've had nobody notify me of speaking. Oh, sorry. Councillor Waite.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo the words of Dina. I attended quite a few of the corporate parent meetings, and they are very interesting, and it does give a good indication of what excellent work the officers do looking after our young people. 230, it's quite a big number, and they're scattered right across the country. They're not all just local by any means. So I'd just like to echo the words of Dina and suggest it would be really good if you attended, say, one a year, because the attendance of that panel isn't great, and I think we should take it as seriously as we can and make sure that you come, as I say, at least once a year. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there anybody else who wants to speak? No? Okay, so I'd like to put that to the vote. Those in favour of accepting? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, item 14 is statements from the public. I'd like to call on Chad Allen, please.
English ivy is destroying Bath's World Heritage status. Not only is it destroying our trees and our ecosystem, but it's destroying our clean air breathing system. So obviously, these are two pictures of before and after of Kelston Village. I've been stopped taking ivy off the trees around Bath for the last 2 months. So obviously, in the last 3 years, I've cleared about 800 trees. So it is a costly process that would cost a lot of money. But if the council and everyone would admit their problems, we would not have a problem in the first place. So if we take the ivy out of the trees, we can breathe clean air. You take it out of your parks, if we take it out of the parks, we can then have our livable habitats back for all the wildlife. So once you take it out of the ground, all the wildlife will thrive, all your plants will come back to life. When English ivy grows up a tree, it strangles a tree and take all the nutrients out of the ground and then block sunlight out to your trees, your lower branches, and then it destroys a tree. If you have ivy on a house or on your wall, so it destroy the mortar as well. So when you want to sell your house, you have to get a structural engineer in to assess the damage and then sell your house at a reduced price because of structural damage to your house. It'll rip down a wall and so on. But nobody seems to understand why we have this problem, and it's down to the council not doing enough about the problem. You've got people who work for the council who manage about 35,000 trees around Bath, and they say English ivy doesn't harm a tree. South America, coastlines, and California have the same problem, same as Canada. If we, as the English people, want our UK ecosystem back, then we need to eradicate English ivy. So English ivy is Hydra helix for the fancy Latin name. It was introduced in the 18th century, and it's not native to England. If you have a look on a bus or on a train, when you sit on a bus and a train, have a look at all the trees. If you can't see through the trees and they don't look like this, then we have a big problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Councillor Guy, do you have any factual questions?
Thank you, Mr. Allen, but no factual questions.
Councillor Ross?
Thank you for the statement, but no factual questions.
Councillor Hughes?
Thank you, Chad, for your statement, but no factual questions.
Councillor Warren?
No factual questions, thank you.
Councillor Moss?
No factual questions.
It's nice to see some new faces, some old faces, some faces I wasn't quite expecting again. I'm going to carry it. That was worth 11 seconds of my speech. 27 years ago, in 1996, 27 years and 9 days ago, the Bath Cycling Campaign had its inaugural meeting. Over decades, the campaign has evolved and changed, and now, as Walk Right Bath, champions walking, wheeling and cycling. We are in it for the long haul because it's what we believe in. We have helped and supported the Council in delivering millions in public realm improvements, from simple things like making paths more accessible, through to working with officers to bid for and win funding for new projects. Some of this is nationally and internationally recognised and celebrated. Walk Right Bath will always be a patient, critical friend to the Council, and we want to lend out our knowledge and skills and experience, and if you will allow us to do so. Sorry, that was terrible English. We want to see you succeed, but we do not want to see weak schemes that do not enable walking, wheeling and cycling, and these days, neither does Active Travel England. Today, I want to talk about time, how long it takes to get things done. From its conception to opening, the Two Tunnels Greenway took 7 years. They thought it would take 1. The Keys Bridge took 8 years. Scholars Way was proposed 7 years ago and probably will take 10 in total to deliver. The Bath and Bristol Railway Path, Bath Extension, was proposed 6 years ago. And Walk Right Bath has been diligently engaging with developers along the route to ensure they make provision for the active travel corridors for this game-changing project, which will yet likely take another 5 years to fully deliver. Since last year, we have been encouraging your officers to engage with Wessex Water to ensure the new sewage works bridge can be used as part of a new route connecting the Bath to Bristol Railway Path at Salford to Kelston and Swineford. Hopefully that will be built within the next 5 years. Not much happens very quickly. And when it comes to West of England Combined Authority, the 6 million livable neighbourhoods programme, you have at most 4 years to spend the money available from the City Region Sustainable Transport Settlement. Realistically, you should be looking to spend it in under 3 years. That's a big problem for this council, given the conditions that the Metro Mayor has placed upon the programme and the current design outputs of some of the community workshops not meeting those conditions. If I was a North East Somerset councillor wanting to make a real difference to my community through the Livable Neighbourhood programme, I'd be working with resident associations, parish councils and local community groups to come up with fast-track schemes that can be trialled and consulted on using experimental traffic regulation orders. For Bath councillors, I suggest you urgently need the City Circulation Plan to be published. The circulation plan is the skeleton road network which will enable you to identify the areas where you can spend available money quickly and effectively. More importantly, if you don't agree with the Metro Mayor's Livable Neighbourhoods programme conditions, make it clear. It gives those councillors that do buy into it even more money to get more done. You are running out of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Councillor Guy, any factual questions?
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Very informative, but no factual questions.
Councillor Ross?
Thank you for the presentation. No factual questions.
Councillor Hughes?
Yes, thank you for your statement, but no factual questions.
Councillor Warren?
No, thank you. No factual questions. Thank you for the welcome, Mitch. You're welcome.
Thank you for your statement. Can I ask you a question? Is there clear guidance on what a livable neighbourhood must deliver, how it should do it, and what the funding criteria are?
The guidance that I've had, as I tried to get it clarified specifically by the Metro Mayor, he has made a statement in a letter, which I think I've made very public. Basically what they're expecting are hard measures to be in place or committed to before you are allowed to do soft measures. Soft measures are things like chicanes. Hard measures are things like probably cycle tracks, modal filters, bus gates, that sort of thing. So if you want to do the nice things, you have to do the hard things first.
Thank you. Mrs. Harrington?
Okay, sure. I've got to sit.
Right. Madam Chair and councillors, I'm Marion Harrington, I'm 90 and I live in Waterford Park, Westfield, Radstock. Recently I was awarded the Inspirational Citizen Award for 2023 by our parish council. Along with other passengers, I am a regular user of the 82 bus service which runs from Tynan Hill down to Radstock, through the 2 housing estates in Westfield, through 2 estates in Midsummer Norton and out to Tesco's at Paulton. It is also used by 20 to 30 children daily going to and from school. The 82 bus service is a lifeline which enables us to go to the dentist, doctors, bank, post office and to do our shopping. Some days the number of passengers is between 90 and 140. We recently had a meeting with MP Jacob Rees-Mogg and he was very concerned about us losing the 82 bus. He helped us to put our petition forms together and as you can see we have collected nearly 500 signatures. I also contacted the Regional Mayor Dan Norris for his help on this matter. I had a reply back last week and he said in reply to my question that it was the responsibility of this council, Baines, to put the money up for our bus service. So on behalf of all the passengers, please put the money into this 82 bus service so we can go on about our daily lives with pride and independence. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Harrington. Councillor Guy, any factual questions?
Here is the petition, if I can pass it all up to you.
Thank you, Mrs Harrington, and thank you very much for coming in this evening. One factual question. Are you aware that Wycombe Mayor is responsible for the bus transport system? Not us.
But now he says it is your responsibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I've asked him to come out and see us and talk to us, but that was the reply I had back last week. That it's the responsibility of this council.
Thank you, Ms Harrington.
So the ball is in your court now.
Thank you. Councillor Moss, any factual questions?
No factual questions, but thank you for coming in, Ms Harrington, to speak to us.
It means a lot.
Eleanor has sorted out your lift to get back home, and rest assured that there will be discussion in this council about how we can work to make sure we save our bus services.
There's been a lot of people relying on me tonight to get this message across. Thank you.
Councillor Hughes, any factual questions?
Thank you, Ms Harrington, for taking the time to come in and speak to us. No factual questions.
Right, thank you.
Councillor Warren?
No, I agree. Thank you very much for coming in. Fantastic speech, well spoken, but no factual questions.
Councillor Ross?
Like I said, I am passionate about keeping this bus.
I'd like to thank you for coming in this evening. We have similar issues on our own with bus services. I have one factual question. Are you aware that the West of England Combined Authority Metro Mayor asked all the 3 constituent councils, including Bath and North East Somerset, to increase their bus subsidy budget and place this in one combined pot so that all subsidised buses could be kept?
Can I just say that some people talking to me say they wouldn't mind paying part, if we had to pay £1 or something, that we wouldn't mind doing it. We just need to keep that bus running. Otherwise, you'll have more and more people with mental health problems because we will be isolated.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you very much. Mr. Redwell.
David Redwell, South West Transport Network. Well, I want to talk buses as well. You are right, the legal responsibility for the buses are the West England Mayor Combined Authority and Motor Authority. However, the precepting is not available to Dan Norris. It relies on a levy from this council at Bristol and South Gloucestershire, and also from a portion from North Somerset. The government in the last week or so have actually changed the rules for bus service improvement plans, and we can now use some of that money subject to regulations and conditions. And that's where I think Kevin Gaze to write some letters on supported bus services. The first time we've actually made that available. So that may be able to save us the 82, the 179 and the 768. I'm very worried because these are school services and these people are now going to work on them. Westlink is not an answer. Let me be clear on Westlink. I've spent 3.5 hours waiting for a Westlink. That will not get me to work and not get me to school, stuck in out in the Summer Valley area. So please don't assume Westlink. It also doesn't run in the evenings, and if the 172 is removed, which is the rail service through Westfield and Radstock and Midsummer, another town of the West Country, we will obviously see that service in the evenings reduced. It's not coming off immediately, but first is evaluating the situation because they're no longer subsidised in the evenings to run it. And that is very, very worrying if you live in Radstock, Midsummer, or on the Peasdown St John, and the town in the West Country on the way to Wales. So I think we need to look at this very quickly. We need to have some conversations with the Department for Transport, where these buses are coming off the end of the week, and staff have been given notice and redundancies. Now, it is a Wycombe Mayor's responsibility to work with the councils. He made an offer today to the three leaders, Preston and Somerset, to work with him if they find some money, and he will find some BSIP money, which is left over subject to the regulations. We haven't got the regulations to know how we can spend it, but that offer is on the table, 50% from the Mayor tonight, and there has to be some money from the council. That's what DFT is saying, so his hands are rather tight, and there's a lot of debate about the marketing money. We can't use the marketing money for bus service improvements. That can be used for all sorts of things, like care leavers having free travel in the autumn, which you're going to hear. There's the initiative on the birthday card. That's still subject to, obviously, it has to go through the Bus Service Advisory Board. It's not yet signed off fully in terms of legal agreements. And then I wanted to say about infrastructure. Obviously, he's about to announce the Summer Valley improvements. That's him, and consultation on, obviously, and also on the Bristol-Bath metro route via Keynsham and Salford. On the bus station, let me just say, it's pigeon infested. I've been in touch with officers. It's not owned by First, it's owned by Southgate. We have problems of cleaning and cleanliness down there. This council needs to put some, I've been in touch with the exec member. We need to sort that bus station out urgently, and it's not a totally First responsibility. So I'd ask you to sort that bus station urgently out in terms of its maintenance, cleaning, and removing the pigeons. It's actually leased from Southgate. So finally, I was going to say, and also money's also going into £35 million into new local rail services through Bath up towards Gloucester, calling Keynsham and Oldfield Park, and that's coming from the Metro Mayor as well. So there's initiatives going on, and we need to support WECA. It's the only game in town, and regional governments where it's actually going to be for transport improvements, planning and housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Redwell. Councillor Guy, any factual questions?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, David, for your useful comments as per normal. And for clarifying that the WECA Mayor is in charge of delivery of buses for the region. If the WECA Mayor doesn't provide the BSIP money for, say, the 82 and 179, would you advocate that BSIP money, like in North Somerset, comes directly to Bath and North Somerset so we can supply those buses?
I mean, what I would suggest is we need to understand the rules. I mean, I'm on the passenger rep for my sins on the advisory panel, so obviously it's me that takes the passenger decisions. But we need to go through the process. But I think the four councils that form the bus service improvement plan area and the leaders need to talk to each other about what they asked Mark Harper to do with the regulations that are still being put before Parliament to make sure BSIP Plus can be spent on supported services. So I'd rather not break up WECA, and the support of WECA, be absolutely clear on the Mayor, but I very much want to see the four unitary authority leaders and the new leaders and the transport spokes get together and contact Mark Harper to see where the regulations are. Stan, can you work on the regulations?
Thank you. Councillor Moss?
No factual questions, but good to see you, David. Thanks for your contribution, as always. And I think you're right, with a couple of councils changing leadership, time for a refresh and a new conversation.
Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, David, for your statement, but no factual questions.
Councillor Warren.
No factual questions, but good to see you looking well.
Councillor Hodges.
Thank you for your statement. Do you know the academic article by Dr. Steve Melia that looks into how demand-responsive travel must be delivered with an existing bus service and will likely fail if the existing commercial or subsidised buses are removed?
Yes, and I am public transport. I'm a sociologist by profession, and I'm not a transport enthusiast. But it's about connecting people, places, and communities. And without public transport, we can't do that. And I'm extremely worried about South Bristol, North East Somerset, parts of South Gloucestershire, up into Gloucestershire. So we've got to keep public transport running. We can have all the marketing initiatives, and I support that. There's no good marketing free birthday cards and travel without having those buses there for people to travel on. So we need to make sure this goes forward. Marketing is separate. I'll make it clear, I'm separate. Can't spend the marketing money, mind, on the bus services, but we do need to find some answers. So I'm urging the chief exec over there and the leader to have a conversation with the other chief execs and leaders in the West of England, North Somerset, to find a solution.
Thank you, Mr. Redwell. On to Alexander Robinson.
Dear Council, I'm speaking to you as the outgoing President of the Students' Union at the University of Bath. I come in support of the tens of thousands of student residents that live within Bath and North East Somerset and make up roughly 1/3 of the population of the city of Bath. Students contribute significantly to the local economy in Bath through spending in local businesses, renting, working, or in the cultural capital that makes Bath a vibrant place to live. The Student Community Partnership, SCP, exists as a bridge between the educational institutions, their students' unions, and the local authority in Bath. They campaign for good neighbourly relations, safety, sustainability, and other aspects of community awareness through campaigns, events, and volunteering. I pay thanks to a number of councillors who engage with their partnership and support their work. I do, however, believe that there's more that our universities and the council should be doing together to improve the experience that all residents have in Bath by listening to the needs of the population, of the student population. One example is how the universities in Nottingham and their city council have come together to develop a student living strategy, the first priority being to improve quality, safety, affordability and location of accommodation and promoting growth in affordable options across the city. All residents here in Bath and North East Somerset would benefit greatly from this type of collaboration. At the moment, universities find themselves renting buildings from private companies through nominations agreements in order to house students in the city, often at high rates which are passed on to students. For example, with the new Centurion House on the cricket ground development, single rooms are priced from £220 per week, £11,000 a year. In the private sector over the road, at Student Castle, rooms start at £330 a week, that's £17,000 a year. In addition, modelling of the bed stock capacity across homes of multiple occupation, taking into account all student residents and wider all residents of the city, could help us to better understand how the city should respond to calls for better and more affordable housing for all. A collaborative approach between universities and the local authority could help to challenge the status quo. Would the council be willing to look at Nottingham's work and consider forming a group to work on something similar? More generally, what will this new session of council do differently to previous councils to engage with its student residents and ensure that meaningful conversations and consultations occur for the benefit of all residents of Bath and North East Somerset? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Councillor Guy, any factual questions?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Alex, for your service as President. I'm more than happy to meet up with yourself and successor to discuss the proposals you just put forward. Thank you very much. No factual questions, then.
Councillor Moss?
No factual questions, but thank you for the statement.
Councillor Hughes?
Yes, thank you for your statement, but no factual questions.
Councillor Warren?
No factual questions, thank you.
Councillor Hodges?
Thank you for your statement. How can the council better support its student residents?
I think by engaging with the student residents, I mean, it's no secret that students are less likely to vote, and we had some very positive engagement earlier in the year looking at ensuring students are registering to vote and so forth. But I think it's more wider than that now that elections have happened, asking students what needs they have and coming up to the universities or putting on events and surgeries and things like that. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's all of our registered speakers. However, I do believe that there was a slight admin error, and we do have another gentleman that would like to just say a few words. If you can just say your name and carry on. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Robbie Bentley. As many of you will know from the previous session of this council, I have been working with Mr Redwell and with others on improving our public transport offering, and I want to echo pretty much everything that the speakers this evening have actually been saying in respect to public transport. This is a very, very serious issue. She did raise the issue of mental health. As somebody who is actually a care leaver, this is actually a valid point that does need to be taken into very serious consideration, as all of you are by definition corporate parents, and you do have to consider these responsibilities as part of those responsibilities, whether you want to or not. And I would urge you to work collaboratively with Dan Norris, with your colleagues in other councils, and with the Mayor in Bristol and that council there, to actually get the positive outcome that we know we need for this region, and which will help to improve the public transport offering so that the economies of the region can actually benefit from the availability of the very wide number of services and amenities that we have right across this region, and which are literally on everybody's doorsteps, but where nobody can actually get to them. Thank you very much, Madam Chair and Councillors.
Thank you. Councillor Guy, do you have any factual questions?
No, but per normal, thank you for your wise contribution. Thank you very much.
Councillor Moss?
No factual questions, but thank you for your statement.
Councillor Hughes?
Yes, thank you, but no factual questions.
Councillor Warren?
No, thank you. No factual questions.
Councillor Helgess?
Thank you. No factual questions.
Thank you. That's the end of our public speakers. Item 15 is questions and statements and petitions from councillors. Councillor Jackson?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for allowing me to speak tonight on the contentious issue of rural community bus services. As Jesus said, the last shall be first and the first shall be last. But he was not talking about first buses, but about how the marginalised, the poor and the downtrodden and the disabled would take precedence over the rich and the powerful. Tonight, Mrs Harrington has spoken up for all those who need a bus service in Westfield and the adjoining former council estates. Westfield, the last ward in Baines, but where the parish council stands up for all its residents to get them a better deal from Baines. The merits of the 82 bus service, the 768 Sublime Scenic Drive through Clandown, Kemerton, Timsbury, English Combe and so on, ought to be marketed as a tourist attraction. And then there's the 42 hospital bus service, which has been debated extensively. We are all aware after Mental Health Week last week of the problems of isolation, loneliness and depression. But there are also far too many hilly areas around here where walking with a pram or a wheelchair is simply not practical, however desirable active travel is. And the pavements are not wide enough either for prams, and they're full of potholes. We are all, I hope, aware of the climate emergency. A modern, reliable bus service, properly marketed, is the antidote. So here's the plan. First, we need to talk to the CEO of Libra Buses, who run the 82, and the other companies delivering community-subsidised services to see how these services could be made profitable. Surely, a bus service with 140 passengers a day can be made to pay. Secondly, myth-busting. We've heard too often, for example, that there's a driver shortage, but there isn't. The drivers tell me they cannot stick the job because the conditions are so difficult for them, and therefore they leave. Thirdly, we need urgent action from the relevant scrutiny panel to set up a working party and hold a scrutiny open day, like the Climate Change Day held recently. A review of the transport policy is urgently needed, and now, at the beginning of a new 4-year term, is the right time to produce one. We need long-term sustainable policies. My proposal is for a supplementary planning document, like the SPD for the provision of affordable housing, that will mean that any developer of more than 10 residences has to provide a set percentage of the value of the houses instead of having to pay an ad hoc amount of money. The other possibility would be to investigate business support, as the 82 was originally funded by Tesco as part of their 106 agreement. All this will take time, so may I conclude by urging the leader of the council to look in his back pocket and find a bit of contingency money to keep the services running for another 3 months while we sort out alternative finance. Maybe even use the levelling up. And then that might scotch the belief in Westfield that Bath gets all the goodies and they are last. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Guy, any factual questions?
I have no factual questions. Thank you very much, Councillor Jackson.
Councillor Moss?
Thanks, Eleanor. No factual questions.
Councillor Hughes?
Thank you, Eleanor, but no factual questions.
Councillor Warren?
No, thank you, Eleanor. Thank you very much. No factual questions.
Councillor Helchers?
Thank you, no questions.
We'll pass your statement on through to the relevant Cabinet member to get back to you, OK? Councillor Helchers.
Thank you, Chair. The role that overview and scrutiny can play in holding an authority's decision makers to account makes it fundamentally important to the successful functioning of local democracy. This quote, taken from the foreword of the government report, Overview and Scrutiny, Statutory Guidance for Councils and Combined Authority, published in 2019, was mentioned in an induction session for new councillors on policy development and scrutiny, which I attended last week. In the training session, there was an emphasis on our culture and the importance of scrutiny for the effective functioning of a council. This is an opportunity for us to work together for the good of our community, questioning, discussing and challenging each other to find the best possible solutions. As a newly elected councillor, I'm excited to represent my local community and participate in democratic, intellectually rigorous and collaborative processes such as scrutiny. I was very disappointed, however, to find out that the Green Group was excluded from critical discussions on the panel and committee allocations and not invited to take up a single seat on any of the policy development and scrutiny panels. The chairs of policy development and scrutiny panels have an important role to play and decide how to respond to council or requests from the executive. In the previous administration, all 3 panels were chaired by members of the opposition. This time round, the administration has proposed that 2 out of the 3 are chaired by members of their own group. The administration will recognise that this contradicts its own call for different and better representative and collaborative politics, backed by its support for the Green Party motion on proportional representation in public office back in November of last year. As newly formed Green Party group, we were especially disappointed to find out we weren't initially invited to sit on the climate emergency and the sustainability policy development and scrutiny panel. We have expertise within our group and we would like to use this to help support real change and improvement in the area of climate and environment. We all recognise that, no matter how bright the team, it is dangerous to mark our own homework. At best there will be questions or motives, at worst there will be avoidable and costly mistakes. I understand that there is a proportional system in place to determine the minimum allocation of seats on panels and committees, but why not be more welcoming to other groups to play a leading role in effective scrutiny and performance in our council? Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Guy, any factual questions?
Thank you, Chair. I know the Green Party are very keen on scrutiny, as am I. I think it's really important in my previous speech. The question would be, would the Green Group like to reconsider their refusal to sit on the Corporate Audit Committee, which is the most important committee in the Council's financial governance arrangements?
Thank you. I'll take that back to the group.
Councillor Moss?
No factual questions.
Councillor Hughes?
Yes, thank you for the statement, but no factual questions.
No factual questions, thank you.
Okay, our last speaker for this evening is Councillor Ross.
Thank you, Chair. As a new councillor, I have been surprised by the lack of communication on the appointment of committee places to the various political groups. While I appreciate the proportional system based upon the number of seats gained is used to determine the overall split, this should not negate good relations through respectful and timely contact with all political groups to inform them of the intended allocation and to take on board suggestions. On the training session about policy development and scrutiny last week, there was discussion around the accountability and good practice in councils being higher where the chairs of these committees were not automatically filled by members of the leading party. While it is noted that one of the PDS committees is to be chaired by a member of the opposition during this term, it is disappointing to see that the other two are not. What does this say about the leadership's consideration of accountability and scrutiny? In addition, only a few months ago, this council resolved to write to His Majesty's Government calling for a change in our outdated electoral laws to enable proportional representation to be used for general and local authority elections. In response to the request for better representation on the various committees, it appears that the aim of proportional representation has taken a backward step. While the leading party is keen to point out that they have gained the majority of the seats across the district, they simultaneously fail to acknowledge that their vote share actually went down, while most of the opposition groups gained greater support from voters district-wide. What does this say about the leadership's consideration of local democracy? Finally, as a ward councillor in a rural area of North East Somerset, I would like to point out the impact of decisions which create inequity in small communities, where it is well known that needs are higher but investment is significantly lower. This has been highlighted well tonight through statements relating to transport needs outside of the City of Bath. I sincerely hope that the current level of communication between groups isn't an indicator of what can be expected going forwards. Respect for the breadth of knowledge and experience brought to the Council from all democratically elected members is key and will allow effective collaboration and improvements to all areas of Bath and North East Somerset. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Guy, any factual questions?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the statement. Are you aware that the committees are set up by a proportional system, which we fully support?
I think I made that clear in my statement that I was, yes, but it would have been nice to have had communication, which was what the point of my statement was.
Councillor Moss?
No factual questions, thanks.
Councillor Hughes?
Thank you. Can I have to Karen Walker, please? Thank you.
Are you aware that all councillors can make a statement at all the panels? So each statement is taken seriously by the Cabinet member.
We are aware of that and we will take it on board. Thank you very much for clearing that.
Councillor Warren?
No, but thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, thank you very much. And that brings the AGM to a close. Thank you very much.
Well done.